Hello, and welcome back to the Quantum Health Connection podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Baldwin, with my beautiful and wonderful co host, Heather Crimson. And today we have a repeat guest, woohoo, Nicole Hartman. Check out our previous episode, which was episode 17, which was called Courageous Quantum Parenting with Nicole Hartman, if you want to hear more about Nicole's story. But today we want to chat with Nicole about her new focus, which is quantum or circadian, excuse me, fitness. Welcome, Nicole, back to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes, me too. I just want to know, how did you come about thinking okay, I'm going to do quantum fitness or circadian fitness. Like this is my passion, right? Because you did start off in the parenting space. So help us understand the pivot and how you got here.
Well, I think that fitness has always been like this cornerstone of my life. And I can remember going to like step aerobics with my parents, and I just loved weightlifting. And I would run places because I loved it. And that's so weird.
I have a love of running too, and I made there are not a lot of people who actually love running. So I get why you think that's weird because it's like you don't come across a lot of people who love running, but I love it too. So go ahead.
I wish I could say that I still love running, but I will make myself run. But like I used to run from my house to where I would have volleyball practice, and it was a good 3 miles. And the road, like I was in middle school, and the road that I would run on was not the safest road. And so I always think to myself, why would my parents have let me do such things? Like I wouldn't let my kids do that now, like it was just a different time, clearly.
Yeah, it
But yeah,
was.
but I mean, I had this wonderful volleyball coach who she like took me under her wing and she introduced me to the gym. And that was like the first time I think, and it still might be the only place where life makes sense for me,
Mm,
and it's, maybe I'll talk about it later, but it's become something more than just weightlifting or more than just fitness. Like you start to see, in
hmm.
the quantum world, how things are just intricately just connected, like infinitely connected. And so yeah, I've just always loved it. And sometimes I think we wonder, what is my purpose in life? And we contemplate this often. At least I contemplate it often. And you just try to find your place in this world. And husbands tend to know best, and they often give you some honest truth that you don't want. And my husband was like, why are you not doing this? Why are you not exploring in the fitness realm with circadian and
Yeah.
fitness and stuff? And I was like, well, you're absolutely right. And so
Wow,
it
I
just felt
love
like
that.
a natural fit.
Mm.
Still working out some kinks, because our minds tend to wander. And but I think I'm coming to a place that I feel kind of grounded in, and I take some, I don't know, being vulnerable kind of thing.
Mhm. Yes,
you
yes.
know
Yeah, no, I love the content that you're sharing. And for
oh,
me,
thank you.
movement has always been medicine as well. So I totally relate to that. I'm very much a movement medicine person. In fact, I was like, the last couple of days, I just haven't had a lot of time to myself. And I was like, I really can't wait till the kids go to school and I can do that yoga class that I really, really love. I was so happy that they didn't have a snow day because I just did that nice yoga class for 45 minutes. I use an app called Aptive that I love. And I was like, I really needed that. Like it was really great. I
You're
just
like
get,
dreaming about it. Yeah.
yeah, like literally. Yes, that's totally me. So yes. Yeah, so it was awesome. So, but yeah, I love that you moved into it and I love all the content that you're sharing. So
Oh,
it's
thank you. Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because I mean, you could look at it from a circadian perspective, just on the day to day and the timing of things. And then you
Yeah.
could also look at it from like the circannual perspective, which with the changing of seasons, which has been really kind of eye-opening for me because the more that you live this life, the more you actually see yourself changing. It's like you become different people with each season. And
Yes.
yeah, it's just really, just kind of really interesting. And you can't speak 100% truth to all of it for each person because what I might find living a circadian life in fitness, somebody might find to be different. I think it can depend vastly like where you live, or it can differ vastly from where you live. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the cool thing about, I would guess, circadian approach to, if we want to call it, exercise or movement, is what is the foundation? It's context, right? So it's two things mainly. It's like, what's your level of fitness? Like, where are you at in your stage of life? What is your mitochondrial capacity? Like, I think about these things for myself. It's like, well, can I really climb those 300 stairs without stopping at all? Like, maybe not. We'll see.
One day.
Or where you live. I'm close. Where you live, like you're saying, Nicole, and so it's going to determine what your body's wanting to do, right?
And I think that's a valid question too, is definitely asking your body, like, what do you need me to do in
Mhm.
order to feel my best today? And like I love the framework. I tend to like a framework, but I also like to uh challenge the framework too, like I'm like my own worst enemy sometimes. Um because it just might, like, as much as I want to say, oh, winter is for the long walks, it's for building a strong foundation. Well, some days, depending on your stress level, going in and getting after it on a stair climber because you want to feel that like winded, you want to feel like you've done something hard, that might happen too. So we can't just follow that linear path all the time. But I think the framework, I think, is generally workable for everybody, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But always asking your body what it needed. Like my body wanted the yoga today. I do notice for me, as someone who does like typically, I've been working out for years. I got into fitness when I started wanting to like take care of my health. It was one of the things I got into and started marathon training, and that was not good for my health, actually. No, yeah, we could talk about that. I think we should at some point. But
You have a lot to unpack there. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
so anyway, but I do notice like in the summertime, I'm like, oh, I want to do some sprints, or like I want to do like the more hit workouts, or like I'm outside and I want to lift the heavy things and like throw the heavy things around. Like I find that, but in the wintertime, like I feel like yoga and I want to
Yeah.
walk and I feel more I honestly do lean into more restorative movements. And it's not that I never pick up the weights because I do. I just pick them up less. That's for me, but everybody is different. And then for me too, exercise has always been not just move like its movement is like a stress relief. Like so that's also too. Like, like if you're feeling really stressed, if I'm feeling really stressed, that would help me. You know what I mean? It would help me release some of that. So yeah, it's very interesting. I definitely noticed that circadian rhythm though within myself for sure. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. Like when you really start to pay attention to it, it is because we can't expect ourselves to be the same person year round. And I
I
think
love
that's
that.
what a lot of fitness
Hmm.
programs kind of miss, is that we can't just do the same thing. And they oftentimes people do like phases and stuff like that. But I the one of the biggest things that I've noticed in kind of reading more about this is that each season is just preparing you for the next. And
Oh, I love
so, when you kind of look at it from like your life, we all go through all those seasons, and each of those seasons is preparing us for the next. So it's just kind of taking away of taking that concept and then just putting it into fitness. And my programs would always gear around weightlifting just because it's something that I find extreme value in, especially for women as we age. I think we can lose, what is it, like 3 to 5% of our muscle mass per year starting in our 30s. And so,
it.
the sooner that you can get into a strength training program, the
Yeah.
better, I guess, or the less muscle mass you'll see.
Yeah, and it's so important for the metabolism, for to
Yeah.
keep your bones healthy, like to weight train. Like I definitely think it's something that women need to incorporate, however they can do it though, depending on where they're at. Like, it's really everything is nuanced, everything is individualized because it always depends on where the person is at.
Right. But the biggest takeaway from that is that you do have to start. And then
Yes.
once you start, right? Like like we can't just, wake up and climb those 300 stairs one day, right? Like we have to start with maybe 10 or 20 of them, and then we do that for a number of days, and then we just, keep progressing. So it's but you're right. Yeah, we got to start where we are, and then but you do have to start.
Start where you're at and keep building up, right?
Yeah,
That's
for
that's the
sure.
message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as like during the circadian window, there we have learned right through circadian biology that there are times that are more beneficial to expend energy and tax our,
Mhm.
well, I don't want to say tax, but because I think of exercise as an artificially induced state of stress. Maybe that's a little too weird, but that's how I think of it.
It's a
Um,
hormetic stressor,
yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
so, Nicole, what would you say in general are the peak times that would where we're working with our biology instead of against it? Like, people say like, for years I got up at 5 a.m. and I went to the gym and all the bright lights and it's 5 a.m. in the morning. Like we've learned that that's maybe not the best way to go about things.
I did that. No, it's not good.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, what if that's your only time? So then,
Hmm.
because like my husband would do the same thing, but he found immense joy in that time. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like that was his alone time. That's how he enjoyed starting his day. Now that he works from home, he definitely is now a I get up with the sun kind of person.
Awesome.
But I hate to like go all in on like the it's so bad for you because some people that's all that they have. You know what I'm like?
True.
I try not to find the fear, I guess, kind of thing to it. But your question, so morning, gentle, that gentle movement, that just a beautiful time to just get in some stretches if you can. Maybe I found that journaling and then stretching and stuff has been really beneficial. And then that UV, like the high UV light rise would be that time that you're really trying to get after something, like to really because it is that signal like we are awake, we're going to work, and that's generally the time to like I want to say it's like 3 o'clock might be that kind of like pinnacle time, that 3 to 4 o'clock time when your body temperature is the highest. And
Mhm.
so that would generally be the time that you're going to, like strength train, you would see yourself doing any number of things that are kind of like higher intensity. So,
Yeah, we have like better cardiovascular and better like reaction time and like coordination in like
yeah,
the afternoon. So some people say that like that's the best time for exercise when it comes to like more intensive things and things like that. You have to be more coordinated with or like hit or something like that.
right.
But I agree with you. Like if that's your only time, but then how can you make it more circadian friendly, right?
Oh,
Like, you know
sure.
what I mean? Because I don't think that when I worked out, like I literally used to go to bed at midnight and then wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, go downstairs to my blue lit gym, put on my Bluetooth headphones. Okay, I know this is what I used to do and use Wi-Fi and use Bluetooth and be in my basement and drink and then do that really intense workout and then
Yeah,
go drink coffee and delay breakfast. So like there's if you have to work out at that time, there are better ways to do it. And I would say,
yeah,
let's see if you agree, probably eating something, maybe getting a little sunlight if possible, if that work, depending on the season and then wear blue blockers or like whatever you can do. Like, what would be your suggestions? Am I on the right track there? Not coffee,
definitely. Yeah, yeah, definitely all of that. But sometimes coffee doesn't bother people though. Like my husband can drink coffee and he's like, I feel absolutely nothing. And I'm like,
I think
let's
there's a
go.
very big difference between men and women though on
I
that.
think so too. I think
Yes. Even when it comes to like how like the morning, like the rigorous exercise affects hormones is going to be
yeah.
between men and women and same thing with caffeine, but go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're just generally way more sensitive. Obviously, that's been proven on many different levels. Do I think that we're way more sensitive? Um, but yeah, I think all those things that you said, those are great suggestions. If you are going to work out, could you wear long sleeves and pants, and maybe could you wear a hat if you don't want to wear glasses? Because I am one that is extremely annoyed by sweat and glasses. Um,
Hmm.
I used to try when I taught spin class, I used to try to wear yellows and teach, and it was something about that sweat and they would slide down and then I got sweat dripping everywhere and I was like I can't do this. And so I just started keeping the lights off in the room and nobody seemed to mind.
Perfect.
It was like morning, it was pitch dark out still because it's like 5:30 in the morning, but no one minded.
Perfect. There you go.
Yeah. But if you work out from home, could you just maybe have a radio playing? Could you have a red light on? Could
Yes.
you have no light on if you're confident in, where you're stepping and stuff like that? So yeah, if you have to, you can make it doable. Like I think like if you're in a gym setting too, like it is bright. So just being covered as much as you can, I think. But yeah, you're right too, because what are the three indicators for telling your body it's time to wake up? It's movement, it's
Zeitgebers.
food, and it's sunlight.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
controlling what
Yeah.
you can control.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Yeah, the three Zeitgebers, right? And then also temperature also would be in there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do
So
you have any exercise type of exercise that you feel is more ideal, or it's like all good? How do you how do you go about if you were going to give someone a plan saying, well, this would be ideal for you right now?
It would be very individualized. Like if I was talking to somebody and they were going like from couch to wanting to move, walk. Just go,
right.
just walk.
Mm.
For right now, you just walk. And then from there, body weight exercises, learning to control your own body weight, I think is pretty valuable. And then slowly adding in some weights. Um, this style of exercise that you do, I think it's completely dependent on you. But then also having some variability in there as well. Like I personally, I prefer like a hybrid style of training. Like it's like a functional bodybuilding coupled with like train like an athlete kind of thing. But that's
Hmm.
something I've always gravitated towards because I just like the way it makes me feel.
Hmm.
I'm definitely not someone that, does my back and bicep split or my chest and tries split or I have my leg day. Like I'm not that person, but I can make you a program if that's what you want.
Right, right. I feel like we should be always incorporating the whole body when we move our body. Like that, I don't know. Like that's my opinion, and I'm certainly not a fitness expert, but I just feel like we should, like, I like whole body movements. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we should be moving all, like we shouldn't just be focusing on the bis or the tris, like for the day. Like let's incorporate all the things.
Yeah. That and like I want to move well. Like anymore
Functional.
it's like aesthetics are great, trust me. I love being able to influence the way that my body looks and I think that most people would be lying if they didn't think aesthetically, right? Like we want to look a certain way, but there's like at this point now you're lifting for longevity. Like I am lifting to be able to move and as well as I can for as long as I can. And, we should be able to sit down on the ground and get up pretty
Yes.
easily.
Yes.
Like,
Functional movements,
yeah.
be able to be
Right.
functional. Like,
Yeah.
we're not getting
I mean,
old.
you look at some people now and you watch them move and you're like, how are they? Like, it looks painful. And I don't know. I don't want to be that. So,
Yeah,
That's
I agree. I agree.
dangers of modern living, right? And people and sitting, like I don't remember where it was I just saw recently, but we were designed to walk 6 hours a day or something like that. And I'm thinking, ooh, how much are people actually walking is very, very deficient compared to 6 hours a
Yeah.
day.
I heard sitting is the new smoking,
Oh
like,
yeah.
because people sit so long and then they're just, our bodies are meant to move. We make piezo electricity. We're meant to move. I tell clients same thing. If you like start with walking, do do one walk a day, then try to do 2 walks a day and go outside, walk. Like that's like the best way to start. So I agree.
yeah, I agree with that. The trouble is, right, like we live in this modern world. Like, how can we balance it? Because we do have to live in this world, but which is fine,
Unfortunately.
which is great because it has allowed for so many advances and so much information and it's great. But at the same time, like there are downfalls to it as well. So how can we merge kind of the two to lend in our favor? I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where my mind goes. But then again, you don't want to be inside of here. So
Yeah.
But so some people say cardio's good, Nicole, cardio's not good. You should do more weights and that kind of thing. I mean, where do you land with those kinds of more rigid views?
I try not to have a rigid view. I don't think all of one thing is ever good. Like we can't expect to have health from just one vitamin or one food source, right? So all of it is important, and all of it from a circannual basis, it is changing. So winter, you're looking at something like long, maybe like that zone 2-ish cardio, where like you're going for a long walk, you could have a conversation, but you're not able to sing maybe. Um, like those long purposeful walks, hiking is great for winter time. But then as you prepare towards summer, like that's when you get into that sprint work. And so the body needs that too, right? So like, what is sprint interval training type stuff? Great for, what is that? BDNF, your
Yes.
brain,
Neurotropic factor.
yeah,
Brain.
neurotropic. Yeah, thank you.
That's why you get like high. You get
Yeah, yeah,
a
essentially,
runner's
right.
high. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
love
going
that.
back to that zone 2 cardio, I was just looking up some information on its impact on mitochondrial function. And
Ooh.
so like all of it is just super important. But I think we can go through cycles of when we use it. Um, it's
Right.
like winter right now, like towards the end of winter, then you're going to see yourself wanting to get more into some of that sprint based work, some of that higher demand work, because spring is a time to start. The earth is telling us, let's go, it's time to start again. uh,
Right.
so
And the
The
energy
rest,
shifts.
go ahead. Go ahead, Heather.
Well, the energy is shifting, but also you mentioned something about, did you say marathon earlier? And then you said you had a lot to say about that, Nicole. Was that what was?
Oh yeah, I
oh
used to train
no,
for
I think,
marathons. Yeah.
yeah, like she has a lot to unpack with her marathon training. No,
Like
I've
it's
only
like
ever done a half marathon. I'm not a full marathon person, and I don't.
yeah, I
Most
think it was just
marathoners are odd. No,
I was just like I'm a very like I can be a very like goal orientated person, and if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to like follow the plan. And that what I found with when I was doing that, when I was training for those kinds of things, I would be like following the plan, even though my body was breaking down and saying, you should not do that plan anymore. But I would just be like, nope, balls to the walls. I'm going to continue to do it because this says run 13 miles today, go run the 13 miles. And then I'd be on the couch for the rest of the day and taping my knees with, the kinesiology tape and doing, I'm like, so that I don't think it was healthy, and I think it's super depleting because that's when I got really sick. I was doing chronic cardio and I was eating like low calorie and low fat and like not giving my body. That's a real good way to destroy your health is to like chronically deplete its energy through really really tough exercise that's really strenuous that your body has to do all this repairing all the time and then to not give it enough nutrients also to survive. It's a recipe for disaster. But yeah, I have a very different view on chronic cardio now. Like not that I think that anything is bad and you should do what feels good to you, but like I don't know how I guess it's good because it's a goal and it's something that you achieve, but I'm not so sure that it's good for longevity or health. I actually hear a lot of good information about how short sprinting is so much more beneficial to the health, even if it's a 30-second sprint, than a 12-mile run any day. Like, so, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm certainly not a fitness expert, but I hear that information.
yeah, I think too, it's like, where do you find joy in that? And if it
That's
does
true.
become something that is depleting you, when are you going to have the honest conversation with yourself that says, what am I doing this for? Is it
Yeah.
because I am finding joy in what I'm doing, or is it because I just have to prove something to myself, or I need to prove
Yeah.
something to somebody else?
It's it
Um,
started off as joy and then it became that, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
I
like,
know a friend of mine, I mean, if she doesn't run, she will go crazy. Like she literally, like she's like a hamster wheel type person. And I think that we're all different in that in that aspect that, some people get more out of like a 5 mile walk, but some people might need that 10 mile run. It's just, again, it's just the differences. And then obviously complementing that and not letting that be the only thing that you do is just that like that chronic cardio, uh because the body is going to break down, you know
I think
mhm.
that we can tend to be so disconnected from our bodies in this
Oh yeah.
modern life. And so you can know all the science, but really the place where it's at is staying really attuned to your body's response and how it's talking to you after you engage in whatever it is. And I love the joy piece. I think that's more important for women maybe than men because they're kind of like, to grind this out. And I just has never worked for me. Ever. Like I had to be enjoying it and it has to be fun. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to do anything if I don't, because it's not fun, but I found that movement in walking and maybe doing the stairs and doing things that are more gentle, especially now at this age, it's that's what I need to do because I think the psychological aspect of it is definitely going to affect our body's capacity to respond during the energy output, right?
Right.
So the mental, emotional, psychological piece is huge. And then I think as well as how able are your mitochondria? Can they actually keep up with the oxygen production or whatever it is? I don't remember. I should know this, Vanessa. Tell me. But because if you're overdoing it, and then there's the whole lactic acid thing, and it's like good or bad, and now it's a big deal. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta read up on all that because I don't remember all that either. But how well you're able to recover, how well you can create oxygen in the moment for your muscles to use so that you're not ending up in a really bad state. But if we just pay attention to our body, you don't have to worry about analyzing all the details of the biochemistry of it. Right.
I have definitely landed in that place too. Like anymore, I get tired of reading the latest research because it does tend to be like cyclical, like, oh, they talked about this in the 80s, but it's coming back now. And
Hmm.
I don't know, I think a lot of it does tend to be trendy as well. But if you just take a minute and you're like, well, maybe I should listen to my body for once, or where's my mental space when I'm doing this? Um, that might, I think that serves us a little bit better than, well, the latest research is telling me that, I need to do 5.6 sprints in a week and I have to do, like that kind of stuff. And I
So
don't
much
know. I just
strategy.
think that like at some point, yeah, that intuition kind of, we have to get back to that and just enjoy enjoy moving our body because that was how we survived for to get to this point in time was we had to move. um, we're just at a point now where we have the knowledge to be able to kind of influence our body kind of, like we do have the knowledge about weightlifting, we do have the knowledge about cardio, whereas before it was just kind of like a necessity kind of thing.
Right.
So we do live in a really cool time, but it has taken away that kind of intuition for purposeful movement now.
Yeah. I love that. I love that because we have those, it's like information overload. There's so much noise all the time. And it's like in all spaces, certainly in fitness, certainly in food, certainly in health. Like it's like so much noise. And it's like, well, maybe you should just listen to your body. Like if I always like, I did a tougher workout the other day and I was sore for a little while. And I was like, I guess I'm not doing much hard workouts today, right? Like, because the body's like wants more rest and restoration to keep restoring all of the not damage, I don't say damage, but it has to repair all of that. So you can't just keep going on it, right? So I think that that's like just listening to your body is so wise and so important because I don't think we are connected to that. And that's why I wasn't when I was just continuing to run for days and days on end, even though I was exhausted, right? Like so it's like you're not, at that time. Now I'm way better with it, but it's like, yeah, so important.
I love watching Heather's face when you talk about the, the marathon running. She's like, no, nope.
Yes. I mean, I think that certain people can pull that off, but a lot of the runners, they look awfully skinny. And
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think that looks very attractive for one, but it certainly doesn't look healthy because I have no idea the actual physiological damage, but it seems like the body can't rebuild because you're always expending so much freaking energy. Because it really
Right.
does come down to the amount of energy that you're able to generate. And if you're just running all the time, like some people do, and they look awfully skinny, they don't really have any muscle mass. That doesn't look so good, right? I don't know.
Isn't there but something I'm not so good at this kind of thing? Isn't it like catabolic versus anabolic, right? Do you know that? Like there's something there, right?
Like a muscle wasting or like the body's
Yeah.
actually like
I don't know. I don't know a lot about that. I can't really say, but I
like
know there's one or the
it's
other, and
like
it's
wasting away kind of thing versus
yeah,
actually
rebuilding.
rebuilding.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a balanced approach is really the best thing that you could probably do for your body is just to have a lot of balance and you don't have to be rigid with it. Just be balanced and see like what feels good for you. I don't know. I feel like that sounds supportive.
It does, yeah. I mean, a lot of people get into this, oh, well, whenever I'm weightlifting and stuff or exercising around my menstrual cycle, it that could look completely different for you versus me. Like, and it could look different from month to month. Like, oh, it's the day I'm supposed to start. Man, I really feel like sitting on the couch today and or just going for a long walk. Or next month it could be I have a ton of energy today. Uh
Mhm.
so I again, yeah, it's that.
That's so true. I've done like some like kick-ass workouts like the day
Yep.
before my cycle, and I was like, oh, I got my period.
Yeah.
Like that was like really surprising. I was like, I had like such good energy that day. And that was like over the summer when I was doing more intense workouts. And I was like, that was odd because I felt like so energized and then did a workout. I find I do have a that like that rhythm there as well when it comes to my fitness and my working out. I have a much more capacity for working out during my follicular phase and my ovulation phase typically. My luteal phase I'm kind of like and definitely when I'm on my cycle I'm like I'm just gonna go for a walk or do some yoga typically. Like that's typical how it is, but there are those odd months where I'm like even in my luteal phase where I'm just like still kicking ass.
Let's do it. Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, and I think again, it's listening to your intuition and you don't like you don't have to be rigid with it,
Yeah.
like just do what feels good for you. Yeah.
What's funny? Like I often go back. I try not to romanticize our like our ancestors too much because they definitely weren't always the healthiest people. But I tend to go back to like Native Americans, and I'm pretty sure that they would just, the women would be like, "Nope, not today.
Yeah.
We're
It-
gonna just, chill out today.
mm.
I got some things going on."
Well, yeah, I mean, exercise wasn't a thing. It was all about survival. So it's
Survival,
such
right?
a modern day phenomenon, the idea of exercise, right? So I was thinking earlier when we were talking, ladies, about would it be interesting to do a study about how the body responds to movement and the demand for whatever you're engaging in when you're in a playful state. Because, yes,
Mm.
is it as stressful for the body or not? Versus, like, I have to run 5 miles because it's on my list to check off today for my preparation for whatever half marathon. You know what I mean? The mindset is so different. I think that would be really interesting to do with two people who kind of have similar, physiology or whatever ages and the same gender or whatever sex. So to look at how the body responds would be fascinating.
Mm. I
Yeah,
love
let's
that.
do it.
Yeah. I think it's so true. Like it's definitely when it's a have to versus I get to, it's totally different. Like if you have to do it because you put it on your calendar and I've got to strength train 3 times a week and I've got to walk 5 miles a day and I've got to do this, training program because I got this program from so and I got to follow it and I can't be off of it. Like that's so not as fun. But like if you're like just walking on the beach with your husband or like whatever, or like I can remember this summer I was camping and there were like these boulders that I was jumping from one to the other, like playfully, like having fun, like a little kid would do. Like that's totally different. It's like just a totally different vibe and feeling because it's more fun. So I think it would definitely have a quantum impact.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
joy piece again, it's that
Yes.
it, totally underrated. I don't think people talk enough about like moments that bring us joy and how they're probably far superior than anything that you could do with a health conscious mind, like
Yeah.
I tend to think this thing I'm sure I've had this conversation with you the eating a cookie that you made from scratch, like and you sit down with your family or someone, people that you love being around and you enjoy that moment, like that's health too,
Oh, a million
like
percent.
yeah, I just like like you said, I just feel like this rigidity has just kind of taken over and uh for women it hasn't done us any favors. That's for sure
Mm.
because I think we we struggle with balance and being able to flow and like
Yeah.
so the more that we can kind of be gentle with ourselves but also resilient at the same time. Is that even possible? I think it has to be.
Yes, I think it's possible. We have to be gentle with ourselves, giving ourselves grace. I think the rigidity in
Yeah.
anything is harming everybody, just to be rigid and super dogmatic and be like, it's black and white. Everything area is an area of gray and nuance, and I agree with you. Even if you ate Burger King, McDonald's, or something garbage, right? And it was like done with love and intention and with people you love and enjoy, I think that still can be healing. I would even go there. So, not that I do that, but I think that it could be. It doesn't have to always be so
Yeah.
black and white. I agree. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, our children have, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Our children have never had fast food. We've had like Chipotle, but we've never had, they've never had fast food.
Good for you.
And I
That's
think
really
this
cool.
summer, I think
You're
this
gonna let
summer,
them go for it? You're gonna,
well,
you're gonna have like
they're super curious about a Wendy's Frosty with French fries.
you know what though? Like, why can't they have that experience once in their life to like, I'm not like promoting that. Like, I want to just say I'm not promoting like any kind of
I
fast.
know.
Like, I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. But like, why can't they have that experience once? And why do they have to feel different because
Right.
they haven't had that experience,
Right.
right? And
So
then
I
they
think
get
we
to,
might do that and go to like
yeah.
the park or something and have a Frosty and French fries and we're just gonna love it. And
Yeah, like I have totally eaten crap ice cream out with my family like before over the summer.
yeah,
And I'm like, I know that this ice cream is certainly not raw dairy and high quality and the best of the best. And I'm like, but I'm gonna freaking love it and I'm gonna eat it with my family outside on a beautiful night and we're gonna enjoy it and everything is gonna be fine. And it
and it
really
was.
and nobody
Yeah.
died. So
Right.
Yeah.
it's just it's
I had that experience
normally.
over Christmas at a buffet, and I thought it was, the moment I realized, I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, well, I'll just keep eating it because I'm like, this is not what I thought it was. It was kind of, but I was
Yeah,
enjoying the company. So,
right.
so I focused on that. And then I just went home and forgave myself and like, it's okay. I'll make
Yeah,
something. 'Cause I was thinking about the frosty and the fries, and then you can go home and you can make natural versions of those, like potatoes fried in duck fat. I like that. And then see what they think. And it's interesting because of
Good
how
idea.
chemicalized the food is for taste. And that
yeah,
would be an interesting observation to teach them about like what do you actually taste, the texture. I would buy an extra set of fries from Wendy's and then leave them out and see how many decades they last so your kids can go like, oh, that's really,
yes. They
you know,
last forever. Oh my God, I saw that meme. Did you see that meme? She
that's
was,
the McDonald's ones though, but I don't know about Wendy's. But supposedly McDonald's is going to go back to tallow, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that. I'll believe when I see it. But also, like you can make, we can make our own goodies too. You guys probably both do that. I know you
oh,
both
we
do
do.
that, but
Yeah, yeah, tons. Yeah.
like I love the ballerina farm, and she just had a video where she made her own Rice Krispie. Wait a minute, I don't remember if it was a Rice Krispie. She didn't make those, but anyway, she made her own marshmallow, and it was just like so good.
Yeah. I make my own homemade marshmallows. The kids actually really like them. Yeah, they come out
Yeah,
really good.
mine do too. With high, it's
Yeah.
snowing today, so I think that's what we're going to be
Oh,
doing.
awesome.
Hot
You do some
chocolate
hot
and
chocolate and
marshmallows.
marshmallows.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's actually really easy to
it
do
is.
and really fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it
they
is.
love it. Yeah, it's really fun. And then they get to like cut up the marshmallows with me and they help make it. And so I Nicole and I are very big on nourishing, with whole real good foods for our families, but I think it's all about what we do consistently that matters, not perfection. We don't have to be perfectionistic. We just have to be consistent to achieve health. So, yeah, it's fun to like just also build some resilience too by just doing something odd and different, at sometimes too. Because your
Yeah.
body, like there might be moments where you have no other choice too, also in life as well. Sometimes that does happen.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
It's never going to be roses and, gumdrops all the time. It's or whatever the saying. I'm horrible with sayings.
Roses and
Um,
Oh, that's good.
rainbows and sunshine. It's rainbows
there
and
you
sunshine.
go.
Tell
Kind of
us
thing.
about your towel behind you that says the terrible towel, if you or if
Oh, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
oh,
Yeah, I know
It's
that.
my
I
Yeah.
love
husband
that.
podcasts full time, and so this is his podcast space. I know I sat down and I was like, "Oh, isn't that nice?" Um,
Okay,
Yeah.
got it, got it.
Yeah, I
How
know.
do you invite
Yeah.
your kids to move? How do you facilitate any kind of movement or exercise for them? Are they all self-starters?
Winter is probably the most difficult time unless it's snowing out because winter I think can be very challenging. I don't mind it. I actually prefer walking in the winter. I love the way freezing cold wind feels in my eyes. That sounds really odd.
Yeah,
I I think
I
it's the
don't like
greatest
wind.
feeling.
I
That's
hate the cold
amazing.
wind. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I just like how it feels in my eyes.
That's an interesting note.
She's like, I need to figure out a remedy for this. No, I'm just
I
joking.
really am. I want to know what remedy. Like my brain really went to like, what remedy? Like freezing cold wind in their eyes. Like that was exactly where it went.
Very specific. But no, I don't. I have never once forced them. If anything, it's like today we're going to take a walk together. Um, I feel like they can at least do that, but they're pretty good about going outside. My son, he somehow all of our weights have ended up down here in the basement as opposed to the garage where they should be. I don't know what he does down here. I do know that he can rep out some amazing push-ups and he can do pull-ups, which is pretty impressive for a kid with Down syndrome, if you
That's
ask me.
huge. Yeah, that's
And
huge.
then my soon-to-be 14-year-old daughter, she loves weightlifting.
Hmm.
She has seen her body change. We never once were like, you need to do this.
Right.
It's her doing it on her own. And so my husband wrote her up a workout and she loves it. I think she likes the way her body has changed. And I think it helps
Mentally.
her mental space.
Well,
Yeah.
but they also, I know that you and your husband are very good role models, and you're
Yeah.
modeling this behavior of how to take care of your body in all the ways, but also through the area of fitness and movement. So, that's how they learn. They're learning through you and what you're modeling, and then they're picking that up, and then they're gaining interest. And I have to agree, like I don't force. Like some people will be like, oh, you do all these things, but how come your kids don't always do them? I said, because I don't force, I guide, I support, I nudge, I remind, I try to do the best I can. The other day, Matthew was like, he got up at 7 a.m. and I'm like, oh, I'm going for my sunrise walk. You want to go? And he came, and that's great. But I'm not going to wake him up at 7 a.m. and force him to go on a sunrise walk with me every day. Like if he's up and he wants to come and it's then great. We're going and we're doing it. And as of course, us too, the winter is definitely more challenging. And in the summertime, there's a lot more activity because we're going places and we're doing things and we're just out and about. We're traveling. It's a lot easier to get into sports and be at the beach and do all the things. And wintertime is definitely more of a challenging time. But yeah, whatever I can kind of nudge and guide is what I go with and force.
Yeah. Force is never one thing that I've ever, I don't want to be forced to do a single thing in my life.
I
It's
love that.
probably like my biggest fault in my life. Like anytime I feel forced to do something, I'm gonna dig my feet in and say
And
no.
I don't think it's a fault, Nicole. I think that's actually a gift because our
Yeah.
desire is what really is the life force, right? It's what helps us to be aligned with our mission. And so I think people who override what they really want, not saying that they want to just opt out of everything, right? Like, oh, I just really want to lay on the couch. Well, maybe they need to lay on the couch for a while if they've been
Yeah.
forcing themselves to do things. But what I mean is that I think it's a gift, it's a blessing because most people are going to not pay attention to those inner voices that say, gosh, I just really need to take a nap, or I really wish I could go take a walk, or whatever it is. Well, I have to do this. And the duty bound people, it's not yes, we have to do enough to make our lives reasonable, but as far as like if everything's covered, and then you ask people, I've had so many clients over the last 20 years, what do you really want? I don't know. Yeah,
Yikes.
really, especially
That
women.
actually makes me feel so sad for them
Yeah.
because it's like,
So,
uh,
yeah, how do you want to move? How do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? It's like, and it's the good thing is women we're good at taking care of others, but sometimes when we focus all on others and we avoid ourselves, right, then that leads to health issues and emotional struggles and resentment, and the martyr thing is not so good. So I like that you just said that, Nicole, because it tells me that you are attuned to yourself to a high degree.
Well, thank
yes.
you. I appreciate for finding the positive in that.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. It's great. It is great. What I'm thinking, Nicole, as we were chatting, I was thinking, how do you support like, or what do you recommend for like the busy person? Like how do busy people get more movement into their life? Like people who just I mean, all of us are kind of more working from home, but there are people who work that typical 9 to 5, and like, what are some recommendations for them to get movement into their life?
That is a really big challenge. Because you are going to lend itself to those morning workouts or like an evening workout. Like if you have to work out in the evening, try to at least finish 2 hours before you go to bed.
Good tip.
Just to give yourself enough time to kind of, calm down. So I would say the latest is probably like 8 o'clock or so. And the reality is that is the reality for some people. And then uh, give yourself the space and the grace to know that some days it may just be a walk.
Yeah.
Like you might have the intention of like, man, I really wanted to get some weight training in today, but today is not the day for that. Or if you don't mind being a little odd, put some weights in your car. You
Mhm.
know, it's only weird if you think it's weird. Like that's and then like whenever your kids have a practice or something, you can do some weight training in the parking
I
lot.
saw you do that. That was
I did
awesome. I
that, and
loved that. I think I commented on that post. You were like, the kids were at like a sports event, right? And you were doing
my
your
daughter
workout.
was at wrestling practice. Yeah.
That is an awesome idea though, like for a busy person, like seriously, because it's a way for you to get your movement
Yeah.
in. I mean, come on, how much can you watch them wrestle and like, you know what I mean?
You can't watch them at all. They don't let you in.
Oh, then forget it. Then you really should do something.
Did you
They
just
don't
say
let you watch because they're crazy. Wrestlers are crazy.
did
Yeah,
you say
you
your
know.
daughter is a wrestler?
Well, they all do like jujitsu and like kickboxing stuff. And so she had started practicing, like seeing if she would want to do wrestling because it's really helpful in jujitsu.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to do it full time this winter, and so she might do it again. But so she was at wrestling practice. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but the funniest part of that story is so I'm in the parking lot, just doing it was just a very basic like weight workout. And one of the coaches apparently came in and said, "What is that lady doing out in the parking lot? It's really weird." And my daughter was like,
Dare to be weird. I love it.
Oh.
"That's my mom. She's just working out."
It's sad that we have such rigidity in our culture, right? Like
Yeah.
I was fantasizing about somebody in their cubicle doing squats with some hand weights so they could have more of a resistance. And I'm thinking, why is it that when we prioritize our well-being, it's such a bad thing and we get looked down upon? It's really sad.
It
Right?
is
Like, but if
sad.
I showed up with, McDonald's or something to eat in my cubicle, with no one
Totally
bats an
fine.
eye, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
No.
yeah, normalize being weird, maybe. That might be a
Yeah. I think we should normalize it. Definitely. I think that's amazing that you did that. I love that. I was going to say when you said that, Heather, too, like that's a great thing to do if you are at a desk job, like every hour get up and do 10 squats or do a push up or
Do
two. Like if
push-ups.
that's a push up even off the desk or like I used to bring the weights and the bands to my classroom when I was a teacher and I used to work out in the winter time. I know I was a little extreme, like during my lunch break or like my prep period, I used to work out or I would take a walk at my lunch or my prep period if it was nice out. I mean, that's always an option for people as well. If it's possible, And then I used to eat and work at my desk, which is not good, but
dude. Yeah, I mean, I used to pump and eat lunch and talk to my husband when I was working, like when when I still had babies and stuff. And
oh yeah.
if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
At some point too, we can blame our circumstances and all that, but at some
Mhm.
point, like we do have to have some ownership to our life and some responsibility. And sometimes, per my language, it's gonna suck. But if we want to see improvement in our life, like we do have to actively seek it, and we can't just have the woe is me kind of
Yeah, you have to be
mentality.
intentional about it. I keep
Yeah.
saying that that word keeps coming up for me a lot lately in conversations. Like you have to live with intention and you have to be intentional about taking care of your health,
Yeah.
however way that looks. It doesn't mean you have to like I said, go balls to the walls on things, but you have to be intentional about how you can support your health. Like it has to be. So
And it might look different from season to season. and
Yeah, I
season
love
to
that.
season in not only like a rhythm of the earth thing, but from like the season of your life or your age
Oh yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
um it could just be different for everybody.
Yeah, you
Uh,
might be going through like a huge stressful experience, and then that's not going to be the time maybe to do a lot of high intensity workout. But
yeah,
maybe for you it is because it's a
right.
huge
Yeah.
stress reliever. So it really depends on the individual, right? Like some people who
Slamming a
might,
slam ball to the ground might be just the medicine that you need sometimes.
man, those medicine balls, they can be fun. Like they can be really fun to slam to the ground, right? Like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, how do you incorporate movement into your daily routine? Like, what's your routine? Like, you don't have to give us everything, but like, what's your routine of how do you incorporate movement into your life?
So I always start off like the dogs are ready to go at like they know exactly like I have my daybreak alarm goes off and it's time to go. Are we ready to get up yet? And so we try our best to get out. Like they always go. This is a little walk around a circle that we have here. Come back, eat, and then my husband and I go for a really long walk. Then because one of our
Mhm.
dogs, it's good for his mental
Mhm.
space too. If he didn't have that long walk, he would go nuts all day. Um,
Animals need fitness too. They need to
yeah,
move, they need to be outside.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So his routine is he gets a really good case of the zoomies and then we go for a long walk and he is sacked out then for most of the day. He's a pity, so he has
Mhm.
a very stressful life. Laying on the couch and anywhere but where we want him to lay.
I love your sarcasm.
And then after that, that's usually like I'm usually just per our schedule because I still have to get schoolwork done with the kids. Um, which should be more of the priority as opposed to me working out anyway. But yeah, so then that's usually when I will do like what the weight training that I like to do. And then usually it's like one more little walk for the day and then that's it.
Hmm. So your movements is basically mostly walking and weight training is what you usually do.
Walking and weight training is what it'll change. Like I'll add in a lot more sprint work and stuff when it's warmer out.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I personally love like that heat adaptation. I do love like dripping sweat. I do love feeling super winded. Um, but that's just me.
There's something about though, there is something about like pushing your body to that limit and like reaching it and being like, wow,
Oh
I
yeah.
just did that. Like there's something about it that
Yeah.
I can concur. I get it.
There's a saying, what is it? It's being comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
Mm,
Um, that I've really kind of taken a liking to.
yeah.
Um, because yeah, we can't make it easy all the time either. Um,
Mm-mm.
but yeah.
No.
But yeah, no, I do. I definitely am a weight training. I love seeing like training athletically, being able to use, lateral work, functional movement, how, range of motion, making sure I can still jump, like adding in plyometric work.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
in the
always harder for me.
summertime, spring and summertime. That's very important for women as well.
Why is the plyometric work important? I'm just curious because
It's that
that's the
same
thing
like
that
the
I
BDNF stuff,
oh,
and
okay.
then
This,
like rebounding, being able muscles like
yeah.
yeah. I'm not even gonna say that word.
Can you
Spast
define this bio? Are you saying biometric or pleometric?
plyo,
Plyo. Okay, what does that
like
mean?
jumping,
Mhm,
Oh,
like being able to rebound real fast.
oh,
mhm.
okay. That's
So
interesting.
like a broad jump or
Yeah,
like
there's different types. Yeah,
a 360 there's a 360 jump or
like
like
fast
there's
twitch muscle fiber type work. Yeah,
the one where you switch your legs, lunge jump one. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't love the jumping as much, I have to say. But I do have a rebounder. I do like that.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, yeah, I like that one. Yeah. I'm just thinking, this just came to my mind, Nicole, to ask you quickly. Do you use any like, do you find like with fitness using red light therapy or cold therapy to be supportive, or do you utilize that at all, or is that something?
I do red light. I think that does help with recovery.
Yeah,
I don't use it in the summer. I don't
me
feel the
neither.
need for any red light in the summer.
Yeah.
And honestly, the only cold that I do is through the winter, and I am not a cold water person. Like that would not bring me any amount of joy whatsoever. Like I would loathe it. Like I honestly, like I just, and I don't even, I feel like sometimes like even just being a mom and stress, like I feel like that is too much stress for me. And that might just be me sounding wimpy. Because it
No,
very well could be. But
you know, some people don't do well with cold, wet, and they don't like it, and that's just how it is, and that's fine. Like we're all unique and different, and I agree. Cold can be a huge stressor, depending on how it's used. I just know that some people say that, like before a workout, like doing some cold and red light can help the mitochondria like work more efficiently and repair and have less, muscle strain or muscle like, um, what is the word I'm looking for? Soreness and things like that
yeah.
after. So, yeah.
Oh, it's widely used in sports and stuff. Absolutely. I know that there is a lot of validity to it. But personally, like I would rather just take a walk with like less clothing than what the weather might require.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
just try to make sure that, like my neck is exposed
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
like but or I'll work out when I can't get to the gym, which is most days. So it is outside. Like I feel like that is I am exposed enough to the elements. And in the summer, like I don't seek a sauna ever.
No, it's not
I just
needed. You're the sauna is outside.
that's generally my theory too. Like that is like yeah, like so winter is for my cold adaptation and then summer is for my like heat adaptation. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to use sauna in the winter, but
Mm,
some people might,
mm,
I feel like it depletes me of too many minerals. I find that I get a headache if I do.
mm. It's interesting. Yeah, no, everybody's different,
But that's me.
yeah, I don't use I have a sauna and I don't use it in the summer, but in the wintertime I do use it here and there,
You,
but I do not overdo it because if I overdo it, then I notice the thing with the minerals. And
yeah.
when I first got it, I was like, more is better. Let's do more, like we do with everything else, and it didn't go well. So now I'm like, I only need to use it here. I only use it a couple times a month. My husband's like, we got this thing, and you barely use it. I'm like, I use it plenty. Like it uses as much as I need it to use. I'm like, you should use it.
It's
I'm
paid for, okay? I use
I'm
like see, I only had to use it this many times in order to
I'm
Or to
doing
cover the
about
cost.
once. I'm doing once a week now, and that feels like pretty good.
Yeah, that's like, in the wintertime, that's pretty much where I'm at. I don't need more than that in the wintertime.
do
Um,
you use it to sweat or do you like for my son, we only use it to for like he only sits in for like a few minutes just to like blood flow.
mm,
Not for him to sweat.
yeah, I
I'm
guess it
doing it like
depends. It
40
depends on the person.
minutes and it gets up to 140 by the end. So yeah, I'm pretty sweaty at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't need to go any longer. It's already that's the benefit. That's the effect I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I kind of do the same thing. I kind of just stay in it until I feel like I've had enough. Honestly, I'm like, okay, I've done now. And so usually I'm hot and sweaty at that time.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm like, then I do want to go in the cold shower. And then I'm like, then it's good. Like, then I
Yeah.
feel like it. But like most of the time in the winter, I don't really like cold therapy either. Like in the summertime though, I don't mind going in the cold because I'm hot. Like, so I guess it's just like living in tune with nature, like what we've been talking about this whole time, and that's really what works. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I do question, like I go back to Native Americans and I'm thinking to myself, were they jumping in there in like the rivers and the ponds and stuff in the winter, maybe just to kind of like
To
rinse off their
wash.
body?
Yeah.
But were they getting like I don't know. I don't
They certainly weren't
I
doing
get
Wim Hof breathing and sitting in there for 30 minutes. They, they definitely weren't doing that.
no.
So
Hey, Nicole, tell us how clients can find you, but potential clients and those who want to start addressing their physical fitness and especially from a circadian standpoint. What are your offerings or how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can find me at circadian_fitness. I'm only on Instagram right now. I'm sure I'll work my way into something else at some point. And in my bio right now, it's just a free winter program.
oh,
At some
cool.
point, I will be adding more to it and probably different styles of workouts. A goal to do like a hybrid style training program and then a body weight program as well. And at this point, it's free, but I think I'll do a pay what you want, or maybe just like a base price, because it is time, and it's
Yeah.
knowledge. So, but yeah, I also want people to just have access to, um, improving their fitness, you
Mm,
know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, Nicole, this has been so much fun chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I hope people follow you
Thank you.
and, look at your work because you're sharing really great information regularly, which we appreciate. And
Thank you.
yeah, happy to have you as a repeat guest.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.